Hi there YouTube, I'm still down here in Cornwall of course, and I'm just recording this when I'm out with the dogs again. But obviously my dog walks are a bit different to the ones that I used to do in Cheshire. And it's kind of funny that the effect that has on you, I think, or it has on me at least. I mean, the surroundings are fantastic here, I can't complain at all about this. In fact, I'm not complaining at all really, I'm just observing. But the surroundings are beautiful. I'll just give a quick pan. I mean, look at this where I'm walking the dog this morning. I mean, Cheshire's nice, but God, this is fantastic. I don't know if you can hear the sounds of nature. It's about 7:30 in the morning. And this is about 5 minutes away from where I'm staying. So, I'm incredibly fortunate to be able to do this. And I think this is the third time I've taken the dogs on this particular walk. And what I've found so far is that my mind goes a complete blank. Well, it doesn't go a complete blank. Intellectually, my mind goes a complete blank when I'm doing this walk, in a way that it didn't used to in Cheshire. And I've just been thinking about why that's the case, because I like going on these walks for all kinds of reasons. But one of the reasons is that it gives me an opportunity to think and kind of rehearse my ideas and put my ideas in a line like ducks at a shooting gallery. And then, if I can change metaphor midstream, fire an arrow down the line of ducks, like what's he called? Greek hero, like that kind of idea. It allows me to do those things, allows me to organise my thoughts in certain ways. And I've always associated that with walking. That's what I've always associated. It's the act of walking, because there's something so linear about walking, about putting one foot in front of the other, that I'm kind of imagining it doing that it activating some kind of process in my brain that allows the ideas to kind of fall into line behind one another and get into lockstep and cohere themselves. But I'm increasingly thinking it's not just to do with the act of walking, it's to do with the location. Because as I say, I'm here in this beautiful place, my walking is the same, I'm still doing the 3 miles an hour stuff, but my mind's a blank, I can't think of a thing. I've turned stupid, even stupider than I usually am. So it can't just be to do with the walking, it must also be to do with the environment. And perhaps, I don't know, a few ideas I've got on that. I mean, it could be to do with the, wow, I just saw something rise out in the water there, it looked like a seal. Maybe it was. Anyway, yeah, maybe it's to do with that, maybe it's to do with the environment. So, and I don't know if it's because the environment is new to me here, so I'm having to pay more attention to it. I mean, it could well be that, because obviously I've been walking in Cheshire for years and years, taking the dogs out on pretty much the same walks since they were born, and the environment is very familiar to me. So it might just be that, that it's not taking up cognitive resources by having to think about where I'm going and what I'm doing. I'm just having to do the measured step thing, a bit like I was talking about with driving the other day in another video I made. There's certain activities which just take up a certain amount of your cognitive activity in a way which is pretty controlled, but then leave other cognitive resources available for more creative ruminations. So it might be that, the fact that, as I say, my resources are being taken up by the newness in the environment. Or, well actually, yeah, on that, yeah, it is striking. I wouldn't be at all surprised if that's the case. Because I was thinking that in terms of moving house as well, and living in different places. Because I don't know if anybody else finds this, but when I move to a different place, new house, it always feels really awkward to get around at first. Even a well-designed house. I find myself kind of taking steps that are all the wrong size, to get from one part of the house to the other. So I go to the fridge, and the last couple of steps to the fridge are all a bit kind of fudged because they're not the wrong length. So I'm having to make last-minute adjustments, or I'm having to adjust my balance as I turn around the corner as I go upstairs, that kind of thing. But once you get used to a house, come on pup, those things don't happen. You just get completely used to it, and your body adjusts itself to that environment perfectly, so that, as I say, you go to the fridge to get a beer, or you get a pint of milk out or something, and somehow your steps are perfectly timed just to arrive there, so your arm can swing forward and open the fridge door, or as you walk to the bottom of the stairs to turn to go up, again you just non-consciously find that your balance is perfectly attuned to do the thing where you grab hold of the thing at the bottom of the stairs and swing yourself around it and up you go. Not any kind of rational conscious way, it just happens, doesn't it? And that's to do with familiarity of the environment. So maybe that's one other thing that's playing into this. This environment is unfamiliar, you know, so it's not allowing me to cope with it in that kind of phenomenological way, cope with it perfectly. It's all a bit, I'm not sure how long my step should be at this point. And that's again taking up cognitive resources. The other thing it might be is just to do with the fact that, as I say, in Cheshire I've done that same walk, well, 3 or 4 walks actually, over and over again. And what I found myself doing in that environment is that the same walks would often bring up the same thoughts. So as for example, there's a bridge I used to go under in Cheshire, an old railway bridge from disused railway line. And it's called the Dancing Bridge, this particular bridge. And the same kinds of thoughts would occur to me, would be prompted in me as I walked under that bridge. It's almost like a memory palace, you know what I mean, those memory palaces that the ancients used to use, you know, where you construct some piece of architecture in your mind, and then if you wanted to remember something complicated, like a long list of things, you would place these imaginatively in your memory palace, and then when you wanted to remember them, you would take a little tour through your memory palace and find these things. And you know, so maybe there's something going on with that those walks I used to do with the dogs in Cheshire were a kind of memory palace, a real memory palace, and my journey through them was prompting me to think and rethink and rehearse and re-rehearse the same ideas. And obviously here I don't have any memories of these places yet. So I'm walking through kind of empty cognition, empty cognitive spaces with amnesia as far as I'm concerned. Places with other people's memories but not mine, so I don't know how to proceed with that. I guess I just have to wait and see what happens, you know, because it might be that my old memories get remapped, or it might just be that I get to cope with this environment so well that the cognitive resources idea comes into play and I start getting to free up some resources for some proper thought. In the meantime, I should just enjoy the view, really. I mean, it is fantastic. All the time I've been walking through this beautiful environment, and constant little glimpses through the trees of the water. Look at that. Can't complain, can you, really? And there's Phoebe and Guy up the path ahead. Yeah, I think that'll do. Anyway, I'll keep you posted on how well that's going, if at all.